Let's learn something more about life processes. Opening and closing of stomata. You can see the position of the guard cells and the pore that is opening. The spore is known as the stomata. Stomata. Massive amounts of gaseous exchange will take place on the leaves, and this is going to occur at the pores. This is meant for photosynthesis. Exchange of gases take place across the surface of the stem, roots and leaves as well. Since large amounts of water can be lost through these stomata, the plant can be lost through these stomata. The plant closes when it does not require carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. The stomatal pore opening and closing is controlled by guard cells. Guard cells uh, swell when the water flows into them, causing the stomatal pore to open, and the stomatal pore closes when the guard cells shrink. There is an activity in which two plotted plants are required. This activity is going to prove that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. We need two healthy potted plants which are of the same size. These two are kept in the dark room for 3 days. This is done in order to destarch the leaves. Then they are placed on two separate glass plates. We will place a dish containing potassium hydroxide near one of them. You know that potassium hydroxide absorbs carbon dioxide. Cover both of them with a bell jar and use Vaseline to ensure that they are both airtight. Both are kept in the sunlight for 2 hours. After that, one leaf of each plant is going to be extracted and the starch test is going to be carried out. Observation. The second one showed a positive test for starch. This indicates that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition. You all know that cows, deer obtain their nutrition from green plants. In turn, carnivores, lion, tiger feed on these animals. Organisms like bread mold, yeast, mushroom also derive nutrition from dead organic matter. These fungi, yeast, mushrooms are undergoing saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Then there are certain organisms that derive their nutrition from living organisms like cuscuta. Then you have got ticks in case of animals, lice, leeches, tapeworms, etc. All of these are the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Amoeba also undergoes a heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and as you remember in class 7th, the mode of nutrition of amoeba is going to take place from the whole body surface. First, the amoeba will produce temporary finger like projections around the food particle. Then the pseudopodia encloses the food particle. Pseudopodia fuse to form a food vacuole around the food particle. Then enzymes present in the food vacuole digest the food particle, break down the food into simpler form, which is absorbed by the organism by diffusion. Undigested part is going to be expelled out of the organism. In paramecium, food is going to be taken into the body through a specific part. Now coming to human nutrition, we all know that the intake of food, as you remember in class 7, intake of food is called ingestion. Food is going to be broken down into smaller pieces by chewing. The food is moistened with the help of saliva. This saliva is secreted by the salivary glands. The saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase or ptyalin. This enzyme acts on food and converts starch to sugar. The food mixes with saliva and moves down the gullet and enters the food pipe, which we know as esophagus. Then from here, it reaches to the stomach. The stomach walls are muscular, and when they move, they cause the peristaltic motion. This causes the food to move from the esophagus to the stomach. The movement in the stomach allows the mixing of digestive juices secreted in the stomach to mix with the food coming from the esophagus. The digestion is taken care by gastric glands present in the walls of the stomach. The glands release hydrochloric acid, a protein digesting enzyme pepsin, and mucus. Hydrochloric acid is released in the stomach. It activates the action of pepsin. It also gives an acid bath to the food to kill the germs. Pepsins, one activated, causes protein and it allows the breakdown of protein into smaller polypeptides. Mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of acid under normal conditions. Now, talking of the digestion in the small intestine, the food exits from the stomach through a sphincter muscle, which release it to the small amounts into the small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the alimentary canal. The intestine is highly coiled as it has to fit into a compact place. It is longer in herbivores as compared to the carnivores, as the herbivores have to digest cellulose, and the carnivores have a shorter and small intestine as protein digestion is easier. The small intestine is a place where fats, carbohydrates, and proteins are digested completely. The food coming from the stomach is acidic and it has to be made alkaline by the action of pancreatic juice. Bile juice accomplishes this as it provides the alkaline medium. The bile juice is secreted by the liver. Bile salts help in breaking down the larger fat globules into smaller fat globules. Bile juice acts as an emulsifying agent and this acts on the fats. The pancreatic juice contains the enzymes called trypsin, lipase, amylase. The enzyme trypsin breaks down protein completely into amino acid. Enzyme lipase breaks down the fats into fatty acids and glycerol. And enzyme amylase acts on carbohydrates and converts it into sugar. The small intestine contains numerous finger like projections, which are going to be called as villi. Villi increases the surface area of absorption of the digested food. The villi contain blood vessels which take the absorbed food to each cell of the body. The unabsorbed food is now passed to the large intestine where the water is absorbed and some salts. The undigested food is stored in the rectum. The rest of the material is removed from the body from the gut. Now, what is the difference between autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition? All you know that autotrophic and heterotrophic, there is a difference in the mode of intake of the food. Here, autotrophic is going to be meant for green plants where they produce their own food, whereas heterotrophic depend on the plants for their food. Where do the plants get each of their raw material required for photosynthesis? As you know, they get it from the environment, from the soil, from the air, and so on. What is the role of hydrochloric acid in the stomach? That you already know, that it kills germs, it gives an acid bath to the food, and it also activates pepsin. What is the function of digestive enzymes? As you know, digestive enzymes in case of the small intestine help in digesting the proteins, fats, and your carbohydrates. How is this small intestine designed to absorb food? That you know that there are numerous and thousands of finger like projections which we call as villi that help in increasing the surface area of absorption, and that is found in the small intestine. Thank you so much.